Oh, get it. Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Deck the Hallmark Presents Fast Fridays.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I also love Deck the Hallmark Presents Fast Fridays.
I'm Dan, and I also love Deck the Hallmark Presents Fast Fridays. And this is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. How are we today? It's Friday. Vroom, vroom to ya.
Vroom to you.
Vroom, vroom to you.
Oh.
How are we?
Doing great now, man. Now it's Friday. We're getting our fast on.
We are getting our fast on.
Vroom, vroom to you. Everything is coming up aces right now.
As the good word tells me, I don't talk about my fasting. I don't publicize it. But we are fasting today. So
That's right.
forgive me
for
talking about that. Ryan, how are you, buddy?
I gotta be honest. My French toast here is not agreeing with me at the moment. But other than that, I'm great. So like this could be a 100 cookie situation. It might not be, but I'm excellent.
Did you just try to shovel a bunch of French toast in your mouth at 1 PM and think it was going to go well?
To pull the curtain back here, I was texting with Bran and Aaron, and I'm eating my French toast. If you're on Philo, I'm like doing it like the Zeke Elliott, and then Dan's yelling at me.
Whoa!
Not on this guy.
Right.
So,
vroom, vroom to you, sir. I was not yelling.
Vroom to you.
Listen.
That is interesting. I didn't know vroom vroom could be used in that context.
Yeah, you're a rookie to it. You'll get it. There's a lot.
Vroom vroom to you.
Yeah, vroom vroom to you. And there's a whole dialect there. But Ryan is usually a very punctual individual who is very communicative.
I'm usually waiting for Brandon.
Yeah, he communicates well and he shows up on time. And we usually show up like 2-3 minutes late. It's 1:09. We start at 1. So we're bordering on 10 minutes. And I know because I'm sitting in a room with Aaron and with Brandon, who are both texting with him.
Yeah.
Brandon is like, yeah, I just talked to him about this. And Aaron's like, oh, he mentioned something about the NSYNC reunion. And I'm like, he's there. He's right there. He's just not doing his job. That's it.
There's syrup involved. The computer wasn't open. There's only so much I could. The phone is one thing. The computer is another.
No, if your hands are clean enough to text, syrup involved. Get out of here.
Ryan, real quick.
I'm using a fork. Yeah.
Ryan, you got 30 seconds to talk about NSYNC. Go.
This is huge, guys. I mean, it sounds like for sure we're getting Trolls 3. Oh, wow, there's background sound. I hope it's a Lance Bass original. Trolls 3, definitely a remake of I Want You Back, possibly an original song. But if they didn't see what T Swift did for the last however many months and said, we can do at least half of that, which would be $1 billion. Chris Kirkpatrick, you can make $1 billion. There's no reason not to do this. Thank you, Bram, for the time. Vroom, vroom to you.
Vroom, vroom to you.
And you did it in under 30 seconds.
Really well done.
Well, I don't want to be clear.
Really well
Chris
done.
Kirkpatrick.
Vroom, vroom to you, Aaron.
Chris Kirkpatrick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Vroom vroom to you, right?
Thank you.
Back at you. Vroom,
Chris
vroom.
Kirkpatrick would not be making $1 billion. His cut would be $12 on a sub club card, and I want to be very clear about this. He would not be clearing a bill. Stop selling Chris Kirkpatrick a bill of goods.
He's listening.
He is. He would.
Chris Kirkpatrick loves Fast Four more than
That's
any
right.
of the other fans.
Yeah,
He's
of
listening.
course.
Fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fast Four, why don't we try to dive into it? I am going to try to synopsisize it. And yes? No.
Bran, I just got to tell you, this is the last one. Starting next week, you're not even,
No.
I don't even think it's
I don't even know what I'm doing here. But let's give it a shot. Fast and Furious. That's it.
No thus.
No thus. Get them out of here. No
twos,
numbers.
no
Leave.
colons, no nothing.
Fast and Furious originally premiered on the silver screen on April 3rd, 2009. It actually premiered a week earlier than that at Gibson Amphitheater. I'm sorry, almost a month earlier than that at Gibson Amphitheater. So
What are
shout
you
out to
talking
Gibson.
about?
That's what Wikipedia says.
I don't know why you would like that. These movies premiere beforehand. Any movie, all of them premiered before their theatrical release date. You have not mentioned it until the fourth one.
Bran, how did it do on home video the first week?
That's a good question. I will say it did.
Who all was on the red carpet for the Too Fast premiere?
The budget was $85 million, and it brought in A, $270 million. B, $360 million. C, $399 million, or D, the candy. Ryan.
Is this worldwide or just domestic?
It just says box office.
Okay, got it.
Good clarifying question. I'm going to go with B.
Yeah.
$360 million.
Yeah.
Well, you provided the choices.
I
believe it was in
was
360s,
leaning
yes.
360, but my heart and my gut are both saying candy.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go candy.
It is not the candy. It is $360 million. Great job, everybody.
Let's go.
All right. It originally aired at the Gibson Amphitheater on
We
March
don't do
12th.
this.
And everywhere else on April 3rd, 2009. It went a little something like this. We're in the Dominican Republic, and Dom is back.
Hey, family.
Letty is with them, and they have a squad, including Han. He's back. He's eating his snacks again. Remember when he died last movie?
This was before
This is
then.
before, so don't worry about it. They're trying to steal from a moving gasoline truck. I will say, it seems
As opposed to a stationary gasoline truck.
correct.
Yep. One of those trucks that doesn't move.
This truck is actually moving.
yeah.
Gasoline trucks stop to get the gas out.
I think Dan is saying they wouldn't have to be trying to get away from a stationary gas.
Bingo. Vroom, vroom to you.
Vroom, vroom.
All I said, though, was that they're trying to steal from a moving gasoline truck. That was
So
the
they're
sentence.
also moving. That's the point of that.
No,
Just keep going.
you can
Brandon,
steal from stationary things.
Just keep going.
You can steal from
Yes,
stationary
but if
things.
it's a truck, we are under the impression that it's moving. It's in a truck. It's got to go from space to space.
Right.
Boys, vroom, vroom to both of you. Vroom,
Just
vroom to
keep
both
moving.
of
Just
you.
keep going.
I'm just saying I'm not wrong here. I think it was important to say that it's moving because that makes it all the more dangerous.
Just keep
If
going.
it's a stationary truck, who cares? It's Rocky. It's Rocky.
vroom,
But
vroom.
vroom vroom. I'm sorry. I'll vroom vroom my time. But it's Rocky, but it's successful. However, Dom thinks that he may be being trailed, so he leaves Letty to protect her. You know who else is back? FBI agent Brian O'Connor. O'Connor, come on. He is trying to find a drug lord and is given the name David Park to go through to find out more information. Dom is in Panama City trying to hang low and gets a call from his sister that Letty was I'm kidding.
No.
Was killed in a car crash. He comes back despite being a wanted man. He suspects foul play after finding traces of Nas at the crash site. Is that Nas? Is that Nas? I think. Huh? What?
He finds traces of the drugs that is only being sold by this drug lord. So that's why he knows he needs to go to this drug lord.
The Nas was in a
Nas-
stationary truck.
Great.
Nas is used by everyone.
Okay, great. All right, whatever. There's traces of stuff. Who cares what it is? Anyway, you got me all over.
Did you have to start from the beginning to read through it?
There's lots of Doms in here.
Stationary,
Dom, Dom,
A moving
Dom.
truck.
So,
Vroom,
oh
vroom to
yes.
you.
So he hears the same name being thrown around, David Park. So Dom shows up and dangles him outside of a window just as Brian is walking by, and he looks up and he's like, that's the person I'm looking for, dangling outside the window. So he runs in and tells Dom to bring him back up here. Brian brings Park in as an informant, and Park gets Brian in on a street race where the winner will become a part of the drug smuggling team, because that's what you do with racing, and Dom is there, and so is Wonder Woman. Brian is about to win, and Dom taps him on the back and causes him to spin out. But since Brian has to be a part of the team because he's the one in the FBI, he has another member of the team arrested. just because he can. So Dom joins the group. There's some explosions. There's some yelling. There's high emotions. Dom attacks Brian when he finds out that he was the last person to have contact with Letty. Brian explains that Letty was actually working undercover, and that she was doing that so that she could clear Dom's record. It was like an exchange situation, best I can figure. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so Brian tells his bosses that, hey, we're gonna try to trap this fella. We're gonna get him, but
Braga? You mean
Braga?
Yeah.
But we're gonna clear Dom's name. We're gonna do it.
That's
It's
right.
what we're gonna do. And so they go. There's tunnels. There's lots going on. Wonder Woman is also helping here. She plays a huge part in this movie. And so Brian and Dom are traveling to Mexico to catch the Braga. There's more racing. There's more crashes. And the cops show up in copter form. Brian tells Dom to leave, but Dom says, I'm tired of running. So Dom is going to go to prison. And Brian is like, I'm getting out of the FBI. And as Dom is being transported on bus, a whole team gets together, and the movie ends with a little cliffhanger. Dom's in the back of the bus while the team is they're clearly going to do a little sneak attack situation. And that, my friends, was Fast and Furious.
We did it.
Yeah, I guess kind of. Let's take
you started off real strong.
Yeah.
And then it slowly kind of
Yeah, you can tell when I started to eat the wings. I think.
Yeah.
The fingers get sticky.
On Wednesdays, we order a bunch of wings and watch Fast and Furious, and that means your job, if you're listening at home, sucks. It's not this job. And Bran was more concerned with the Korean barbecue flavor wing. It was excellent this week. And then it was the synopsis.
Yes,
and that's fair.
And I do think everybody understands. Let's take a quick break.
You know how your job when you have to stop and eat wings and watch a 2-hour movie.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark presents Fast Fridays. Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark presents Fast Fridays. It's your good friend Bran. I'm here with Dan over here on my right, your left. And Ryan, who is on my left, your right.
That's right.
If you're watching on Philo.tv/DTH,
Yes.
where you not only get to watch this and enjoy it, but you also get some fun facts about directions. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go to the hot takes. It's where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. We do not hold back, and I'm going to throw it to you, Ryan. Ryan, what'd you think? And also vroom vroom to you.
Vroom vroom to you. And Aaron, can you put what Bran just did on the board for Philo going forward? That's the new hot take sound. Thank you. And vroom vroom. The opening heist made me really, really happy. Like we were like Dan, I'm sure the same way, and Bran, even with you having seen 8, 9, and 10, and whatever you've seen in the lead up to this, not counting the first couple we've reviewed, this isn't exactly where we're going to be starting next week, but man, we were just about there. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is why I suggested this 2 months ago, it made me super, super happy. I thought Brian's first scene, which was a big action set piece, also made me, we were in it, we were in it. My all the feels, I'll talk more about that. I enjoyed the heck out of this movie. I just thought it was a little too serious at points. This is the most serious, I think, of the entire saga, is this one right here. With that said, everything just about worked for me. I'll be honest, I had no recollection of Gal Gadot being in this film, but I'm an adamant Gal Gadot supporter, so I was pretty stoked. And like it gets a little bogged down in the middle. There's about 20 minutes there before the third act where I thought it was a little yada yada, but the final set pieces, even with the bad CGI in the tunnel, were great. Like these movies are great, and they're dumb, and they're stupid, and my octave is going to be 10 times higher than this a few weeks from now, probably even next week. A lot left to figure it out, but what's cool, Bran, about what you said. A lot left to figure it out.
What does that mean?
He knows.
A lot left to figure out? A lot left to figure it out. Great show on Nickelodeon,
A lot left
Bran.
to figure what out? What are you talking about?
in terms of I think there's still more that by the next film, by next week, the few pieces that were not there in this one will be there.
Oh,
As
from
far
a
as
filmmaking.
Okay, now I'm on board.
Oh,
Yeah.
but also figure it out with Summer Sanders.
Oh, great. Danny Tamborelli getting time. What a
it's
time.
great.
What a time. Yeah, Tokyo Drift may be my favorite of the
Wow.
5 for those so far. Just because this doesn't have any fun, but it's neck and neck. This film's great, and we're gonna be off to the
Are
races.
you
quite
calling it?
literally
You're
next
saying
week.
your order is 3, 4, 2, 1?
For right now, yeah. I'll review this at the end of the end of the semester.
Yeah.
For right now,
3,
3,
4, 2, 1. What you going with?
And vroom vroom.
Vroom, vroom. I agree by and large. I thought this movie starts off real strong and ends real strong. And then I did get lost in the wings in the middle. And I don't know if that was the wings or what was going on. The literal sauce. So that's more of a me thing than anything else, I think. But yeah, my big takeaway from this is we were talking last week about Tokyo Drift and how it was our favorite of the 3, but there's also people that are like, this is the best, Tokyo Drift's the best. And I just don't know how you get there. I don't know, even just right out of the gate, this movie just is strong. It's like gets you where you want to go. The ending is everything is so good. And I just this is what you want. Is number 3 a better racing movie? Maybe. There's more, the drifting is good. But this is just so much fun. Oodles and oodles of fun. And good to see Wonder Woman. So I'm here for it. I'm sure we'll see her again soon at some point. And yeah, I really like this one. This one for me is now my favorite. So it's been getting better with every movie. Well, yeah, except 2. I think I liked 1 more than 2, maybe.
Did you
No,
really?
I don't remember.
Really?
No. Sorry, everybody.
Come on.
Sorry.
Listen.
Sorry.
Tokyo Drift may be the most consistent of the 4 we've watched, from a standpoint of from beginning to end.
All the way
is
through, sure.
Consistently entertaining, but it does not reach the heights of this movie. I want to be clear. Fast and Furious is the most forgettable of the 10 of them, in my opinion. From a plot standpoint.
From a title standpoint.
It is it's very serious and we got to figure out who Braga is. Why? Because he's Braga. Who cares? No one. That is forgettable. You know what's not forgettable? The first 10 minutes and last 10 minutes of this movie. Those 2 set pieces are better than anything in Tokyo Drift. So give me the movie that swings big over the movie that is just consistent any day of the week. You also have more budget for this movie, and they put it all on screen. I think Vin Diesel is not any better in this movie as an actor, but as much Dom as Dom will ever be.
I'm happy he's back.
I am too. Paul Walker is way better in this movie than he is in Too Fast, Too Furious. Light years better. Always happy to see Gal Gadot. That was fun. It was nice to have her as a major part of this movie. Yeah, definitely forgettable in the middle hour. There's no doubt about it. It's forgettable. But even in that middle hour, there's an entire engine block connected to a chain that's about to crush a human being, and Dom just reaches behind his head and grabs the chain. Yeah. I mean, there are some classic precursors to what the Fast franchise becomes that, to Ryan's point, and my octaves won't get quite that high, but to Ryan's point, it's exciting because you know that this works and what's coming up works even better. So yeah, Tokyo Drift, you had your moment in the sun last week. You're the best of the original 3, but stop it. Let's stop right now. The best of this movie is better than anything Tokyo Drift offers. And Han in this movie is useless in his scene or 2, and this movie is starting to realize the deliverables. It's starting to realize the perfect formula for these characters in this world. And so yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone's getting better than the previous one at this point.
Let's get to all the feels before we talk about what gave us those vroom vroom feels. Ryan.
Feeling better after the French toast.
Good.
Oh, good. Thank you. Good. Vroom, vroom.
God is good.
Yeah.
All the time.
Vroom to God. Yeah.
Vroom, vroom to God.
So,
yep.
Vroom vroom to God.
Yeah.
Somehow we've joked around a lot about God in our 5.5 years here. That's the first one that felt wrong.
It did feel the most sacrilegious.
Oh, really?
That's the first one that felt that felt like it for some reason it wasn't okay. Vroom, vroom, vroom to you, God. Vroom, vroom to you.
I'll say this. If people can start prayers with Daddy God, I can say vroom, vroom.
Wait, who does that?
Oh, bud.
You know, and it was when you
that a
saw
thing?
one set of footprints in the sand that God was saying vroom, vroom back.
Daddy God. If you're a Daddy God person, I'm sorry.
Vroom, vroom to you.
It's not my thing. It's not how I communicate with him. But he's your Daddy God, and you can talk to him how you want to. We'll say vroom vroom, and I think he gets that.
Ryan is like, I'm just not going to participate in this.
Well, this was my fault. I
Yeah,
think
it was.
But, yeah. So vroom vroom to both of you.
Yeah, of
But
course.
and vroom vroom to Letty, because the shot of Letty crouched on the car in the first 10 minutes that Dan talked about has become a pretty iconic shot. I was already amped up in the beginning before that, but once I saw her in that exact pose that you've seen in any hype package for any Fast and Furious teaser, preview, whatever, I was like, oh yeah, like we're officially in it. And I had the same sensation when we saw Brian's blue car, which becomes a standard for the next several films. Both of those were, as someone who has seen all of these at least once, was like, yeah, this is great, and all that stuff's just going to come in ample doses going forward. So that was it from me, Brand.
So what we get a few times in this movie, as someone who has seen the most recent Fast movies, those movies are full of, that is ridiculous, it makes no sense, but I'm here for it. And I feel like we get that a couple of times. They're like flirting around with how far can we take these stunts. And the one that sticks out to me that I just like, I just laughed when I saw it was towards the end of the movie, this truck, this semi is rolling towards Dom and Letty in the car.
Perfect timing.
And what Dom decides to do is just gun it. And as the semi is rotating, there will be a split second where it will be in the air and the car can go under. And of course, I guess he's done the science. He knows the perfect time and he just goes right through it. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't take skill. That's luck, but whatever. And I loved it. So I'm so excited they started to flirt around with this in this movie, and I can't wait for more of the
because that stuff's going to happen on like high rises.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like 100-story buildings, and like you're gonna like
it's like, but it's like they want us to be like, man, Dom's an amazing driver. Stop.
Okay, yeah, that's not what that's not.
Dom's
what
not going, well, if you do it right, then if I'm going at 78.
That's right. Yeah,
It's like, well, no, you're not.
Yeah, if object is approaching at 12 miles an hour on fire,
Right.
And I don't.
Letty, get the whiteboard. Let's do the math.
He's got one of those clear glass ones.
Oh,
You can
yeah,
see
yeah,
both
yeah.
sides of it. Don't be silly.
He puts on clear glasses.
Clear gas full
Yeah,
hearts.
that's right. I didn't really have any feels aside from the ones that we've talked about, like getting excited about some of these set pieces that start to get crazy, seeing all these people again, getting, Michelle Rodriguez back, Gal Gadot back, Paul Walker back, all these people back that are going to show up again is a lot of fun. So that's all I got.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Wait What's and the Fast or Furious here on Deck the Hallmark presents Fast Fridays. Welcome back. It's your good friend Brian. I'm here with Dan on my right, your left, and Ryan, who is on my left, your right. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Friday. Hopefully you've got Philo open and you'll keep it open all weekend long. So much to watch over the weekend. And if you need some suggestions, head over and watch the latest episode of The Deep Dive. I think you'll really enjoy it. I think you'll really enjoy it. We're talking about Fast and Furious, the fourth of the Fast and Furious movies, and it's time for the Wait What's. Ryan, what you got?
They kill Letty on the phone in the blink of an eye in this movie. And Dom doesn't seem upset about it till about an hour later.
Yeah.
And granted, this is what makes Dom charming, I guess would be the word I'd use in the films to come, is that he's never too high, he's never too low, he's perfectly Dom all the way through. But if you are eating a wing too loudly, you will not hear that Letty
That's
died.
right.
Like,
That's true.
Like genuinely. you'll have to, even when you get to the funeral, it takes like a couple minutes before they show like a picture of her. You would not know what was happening. So that one seemed a little strange. I'll actually have more on that in my Fast or
I would
Furious.
say, Ryan, you could say that Letty and Han both died light. Like they died, but not in a way that feels as permanent as other cinematic deaths, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
But to the point, yes. To the point of Han, he is dead for all about, from film 3 to film 4, all about 15 seconds of airtime.
Yeah.
Which somehow is not the most ridiculous way they'll bring this man back.
No, it is not.
Whoa.
No, it is not.
At one point, Jordana Brewster, who I don't think is a bad actress.
No.
She reads this line, quote, she's talking to Brian. She goes, "Maybe you're not the good guy pretending to be the bad guy. Maybe you're the bad guy pretending to be the good guy. Ever think about that?" And I'm like, well, we're all thinking about it now, and I feel like there was a different way to articulate that.
There's an easier way to get from point A to point B.
I will say my favorite part of that scene is one, that's the premise of the first two films in their entirety to remind everyone at home, the movie-going public. And two, Brian, when she says that, looks like he's trying to interpret like calculus-based physics. He is so like, I'm the what to the where, who, is there a board? Is there a study guide? He looks very confused, even though it is fairly straightforward.
Yeah. To that exact point, and I agree. To that exact point, though, perfect segue. A little bit after that, the captain or whoever that Brian works for the cops or whatever the hell he works for at this point. The captain says, "Brian, do you know the difference between a criminal and a cop?"
Boy.
To which Brian literally says, "What?" I feel like he could have taken a guess. You know, like there was.
Yeah, he could have taken a guess, but the answer that guy gives is one bad judgment call. Gosh, if you weren't terrified about police before, I have news for you. There are people out there with guns walking the streets and badges that give them the right to use them that believe the only difference between them and the other side of the law is one singular bad judgment call. One date you shouldn't have gone on, one maybe purchase you shouldn't have made. One time where you tried the Clams Casino and that was not smart because you're in Branson, Missouri. There's one. That's it. That's all the difference between that they don't make any of those and the criminals do. That's terrifying.
One, you're like a dream come.
Yeah.
Wow. McKnight is. He's awesome. Yeah, love that dude.
And
two
if
more
ever
from me.
he believes his work is done, you start right back at one.
Start back at one. Yeah, that's how it works. That's simple math. You don't need
That's
to
right.
No.
No.
The one big racing scene of the movie is really good, but at one point right before it, Dom and Brian are revving their engines. They're next to each other, but it's loud. There's a big crowd of people, and they're talking to each other at a borderline whisper.
Yeah,
it might be the most ridiculous thing in the film. And then lastly,
it's a full reverse Chris Nolan. It's a reverse, like it's like. You sure you want to do this?
The most soft-spoken scene in the whole film. Lastly, they are not superheroes yet. At least in my head, we didn't start being superheroes in Fast 4.
Yeah.
But tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I missed something. Dom gets shot in the big desert scene. There is noticeable blood. It goes through his jacket. He not only doesn't flinch, this never gets brought up again.
He gets brought up at the end of the movie. He's bleeding everywhere. That, like, at the end of the movie, there's a trail of blood, and they're like, "You got to go see somebody."
But that was hours before.
Yeah. So my thing with that scene is he gets shot. He doesn't get grazed. He gets shot in the meat of the shoulder, and then he, like, in the next scene, raises his arm up and overhand punches someone with that shoulder. It is an impressive level of no one cares. Like the laws of physics don't apply here. It's like it's very quick, but he clearly gets shot. Very much shot in the movie, and it does not even faze him. It's unbelievable.
Let's do this. I'll go.
Vroom vroom to your brain.
I have one.
Do you? Do you know what segment it is?
Is it the way what?
Okay,
It's
great.
the way what.
The hot takes.
It's the way what. So there's a race scene in this movie.
God, gonna
and
need a
they,
little vroom vroom down here, if you don't mind.
and they introduce a GPS system, which
You just said global positioning system.
gosh, impossible. A GP system.
A JP system.
And it's what it does is they're saying we're going to send everybody the map it's going to load on. So they do this loading of the map. And as they're driving, you can also see where the other cars are. And Dan and I were talking about how that's just a Tesla.
It's just a Tesla. It's all
I
it
imagine
is.
Elon was watching this movie and says, Tommy, get in here. You gotta see this.
Listen to this.
We gotta do this. This is a great idea. But I love that this, as it's counting down, it's getting ready to start the race. 3, 2, 1. For reasons, I guess you always, when you're starting a race, you have to be like slightly aroused. They throw women up there. They're like 3, 2, 1 on the GPS.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I guess this is just what we do.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
Does the race start if there's not a scantily clad woman out there waving a flag?
We wouldn't know we wouldn't know when to start.
No, we wouldn't know when to start.
We couldn't.
The tree falls in the jungle.
that's right.
Can you imagine if it's just me and Dan?
Tree falls in the
3, 2,
jungle.
1, go! No one's racing.
No one's
they
racing.
don't care.
They're
What do they
all
have to
just like
race
this.
for?
When's it start? When's it time? I'm not even like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, but I just love that there's somebody who was like, I'm going to create this amazing GPS, and it's going to maps and different cars. But we still gotta work the women in, right? We can't get rid of them all together. So that made me chuckle. Dano?
Earlier in this movie, when Dom comes back to the States, he's a wanted man. He goes out to his garage, and his like famous car is there. And Jordana Brewster comes out, and she says, I was gonna junk this until Letty started working on it. You were going to what? This guy is on the lam. You know he's still alive. It is your brother's most prized possession that has been through several accidents that you know he would fix up. And your response is, I was just going to throw it all away. If it wasn't for Letty, your sister, would have been like, yeah, screw him. I'm going to throw this in the trash can. That's what I'm going to do with your like most prized possession of a car. That was tough. The same guy that utters the line, the difference between, a cop and a criminal is one bad judgment call, is the same guy that then plants heroin on someone and arrests them for drugs. Just saying. I don't need to draw any more dots to make that conclusion. In the big fight in this movie between Dom and Brian, Dom gets mad at Brian because Brian let Letty work for the FBI, and then Brian's like, she was doing it to clear your name. Can you do that? Can I go in and be like, I would like to work for the FBI, but instead of payment, I would like to select a criminal at random, and I would like for you to clear their name because of I'm going to be FBI Jesus. I would like to.
Vroom, vroom to you.
I would like to work for someone else's freedom or like removal of criminal record. I didn't know that was a possibility. Of all the things that happen that don't make sense in this movie, that may be at the top of the list. You can't just go in and be like, I'll work for you if you clear a buddy of mine or a friend of mine or a relative of mine's name. I don't like, that's not something that can happen, right?
I work for you, but Crandall, well, here's the thing. He doesn't belong in there. We gotta get Crandall out of there.
Yeah.
It's time for Fast or...
I have one more, if you don't mind. If you'll grant me the time. If not, vroom vroom to you.
Whoa! You can't say that on the air.
And this might be a Fast or Furious, but I'm gonna do it here. Dom calls Brian Buster in this movie, like numerous times, and he calls him Buster like he's always called him Buster. He's like, oh, classic Buster move. There goes Buster again. Has he ever done this?
They've only been in one song together.
He calls him Buster like we have been watching Star Wars for 9 episodes and Han Solo's been calling Luke Kid. He calls him Buster like there is a full series of movies where it's Dom and Buster at it again. And for the life of me, I don't think he's ever called him that before. And I'm not sure if he'll call him that again after this. Yeah. Am I crazy?
I don't know, Buster. It's unlikely, but
Say what?
I was looking up Fast and Furious quotes for social media, and they attribute Buster. It starts in this movie.
But he does do it later on.
I don't know if he does it later on, but it's introduced in this movie.
Yeah,
it's not from the other 3.
Maybe not the most glaring, but my biggest wait what of the film was definitely Dom has a nickname for Brian. And he says it like this has been established. Like at some point they had a conversation where he never calls him Buster to his face. He calls him Buster to like just on the phone or in the thing. I mean, maybe in Fast 11, in honor of Paul Walker, they'll start like an arcade like restaurant called Dom and Buster's. I don't know. Like I got no idea what they'll do, but it is something that did not exist before now, and it's all race car games and Dom and Buster's.
Yeah,
you get it.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thanks, Moose Man. It's time for Fast or Furious. It is where we share the things. Ryan, go ahead.
Moose Man.
Oh man. That was really funny. I'll need Jan Bordino to fact check me on this, but I'm furious because from what I've read, I agree. They don't use Han great in this film, and I don't think I'm giving anything away. Michelle Rodriguez has a lot to do in these films going forward, despite what happened here. But initially, apparently, both were supposed to be deuces after this film. And I think especially Michelle Rodriguez, when you know everything that's coming, it's like, all right, they gave Michelle Rodriguez a very important role at the top to establish things that are coming later on. But that's kind of revisionist history. And so, granted, it all works out. But for the purposes of Fast 4, I'm furious that specifically for Michelle Rodriguez, but really for both, 2 of my favorite characters, they just thought that this would be the end of the road. Or as we sometimes like to say, the end of the road begins. So thank you.
I'll go. This could be a Fast or a Furious. I'll go Fast, though, because I don't want to make anybody mad. I've spent a lot of time on the Fast series Wikipedia pages over the past few weeks.
Cool.
Just looking up different things like premieres and where was that? That was
it was a month beforehand.
Beforehand at the Gibson Amphitheater. Shout out.
Amphitheater, that's right.
What all of the Wikipedias have in common is they all are really adamant about telling me what car people are driving. Yeah, and I'm at first I got it. I was like, okay, they're doing some racing, so like this seems. Yeah. This one, I don't know. Like, do I need to care about the Nissan Skyline GT-R R34? I don't know. I guess so. Do I need to know about the Subaru, the 2008 Subaru Impreza WRX STI hatchback? I don't know, man. I don't know. I am both impressed and also annoyed. It's just more things I got to look through. Yeah. And so, vroom vroom to you, Dan.
That's right. Yeah. And we're sorry. We'll put an explicit label on.
I'm sorry.
That's on us for sure. I think every week I've been furious, but this week I'm fast because Fast 5 is coming next. Yeah. And I'm very, very excited about Fast 5. It's a movie that I've always thought is the best one of these movies, and I'm hoping it holds up. But we're here. We finally made it to where the real show begins. I'm already excited about ordering the wings and putting the Fast 5 on the TV next week.
It is very exciting. Yeah. Let's get to Driver of the Week. It is where Dan reads an email that somebody has sent in, nominating them as Driver of the Week. Dan, who do we have this week?
This week is Skeech Timber.
Skeech?
Like
not Skeet, but Skeech. Not Skeet Ulrich.
Conventional spelling of timber, Dan?
Yeah. It's Skeech, Skeech Timber, as you would spell it. Skeech Timber is his name.
Like the song.
And he actually puts number 41 here. I don't know if we're supposed to know that
He's number 41.
He's number 41. And he says, around turn 3, never gonna get you. I also don't know what that means. But Skeech Timber, number 41, our driver of the week. Do we have
That's Skeech Timber.
Skeech, you're there?
Yep.
Great. Skeech, how's it going?
But what? Around turn 3, gonna get ya.
It says never gonna get
Never
you,
gonna
which
get
is
ya.
weird because a driver would say that they're always gonna get you. They're gonna win, right? What does that mean?
I'm bad.
Hey,
Yeah.
Skeech, quick
What's
question. Is 41 the number that's on the side of your race car? Is that why the 41
No,
was
that's
there?
what year my dad died. Vroom vroom to ya.
Vroom,
Vroom to you, Skeech.
vroom, vroom to your dad.
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom,
Vroom
to your
vroom to
dad.
his
I
dad,
don't
indeed.
think we can do drivers of the week
If you want
anymore.
to nominate a driver of the week, you can email us hello@deckthehallmark.com. These have all been very eclectic, which
They
is
have been,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Brand, you never have any questions for the guests.
It's-
I
So
don't.
weird.
I don't care. I actually am not for this segment. I'm very against it. So I try not to play around. I'm very serious, just like Fast and Furious. We're gonna be back next week with Fast 5.
Yeah, first email in for driver of the week gets $10 off their next trip to Dom and Buster's.
We'll be back then. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a
Vroom,
Merry
vroom,
Vroom
vroom. Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.